Alright, so I'm going to show you how I aerate my wort. Um, I use a standard aquarium fish pump. I have a HEPA filter and a diffusion stone. Now, when I built this system, I guess you can call it, I had trouble with the air pump. Yeah, with this aquarium pump because it has a super tiny nozzle coming out of it. So it came with this really small diameter tubing, and my diffusion stone, it has this really nice barb on it, but it's much bigger than the tubing from the aquarium pump. So I had to rig up this little. Uh, I kind of had to hack this together. I just got the right size tubing, slid it underneath there, and just like taped it up a whole bunch. If you're better at me than doing this kind of stuff, I'm sure you can have something that looks a lot better. So pretty much, it's really dirty. So yeah, what you got to do is make sure your diffusion stone is clean and sanitized because you're gonna put it in your beer. So I got a whole bunch of bubbles up in here. See that? Alright, so we got a whole bunch of air going through that. So pretty much what you do is you brew your beer. I brewed this yesterday. It's what's the temperature? We're right about like the mid 60s. So I just let it sit overnight to cool down. Let's get my tubing all nice and sanitized. So you're going to want to sanitize all this tubing. So let me kind of set that in there. Let's get my spray bottle. Yeah, so anything that touches the beer, you're going to want to sanitize, obviously. So this tubing's going to be up in there. There we go. Get your workbench all nice and wet. And there you go. I don't know if you can make that out. There you can see some of the air starting to come in there, so minor mishap. So I'm gonna let this run for about an hour or so. I don't know if that's overkill or not, but I don't think it'll hurt anything. I guess the opening, it's open to bacteria, but I don't know. I'm gonna play it risky, I guess. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. You can notice that there's a lot more foam in there. I guess I can. That should be the color of the head of my beer. I brewed a porter. Used some chocolate, dark malt, special B, and 2-row as the base malt. Used about 2 ounces of Fuggles in here. I mainly tried to make a clone of the Edmund Fitzgerald porter from Great Lakes Brewing. So I'm hoping that this turns out all right. All right, so I'm going to use this California ale yeast. This is their new pure pitch thing. You're holding the industry's first pitchable. Wow, what a bunch of bullshit. Oh, look at Chris. He's got a PhD. What's up, Chris? Hey, thanks for this nice pure pitch. But something that's kind of funny on here, in the instructions, it says that I need to add it to cooled aerated wort. So this is really the first time I'm actually going to follow directions. So all right, so let's take another check at this beer here. There's a lot more foam in there. You can see, I guess the floor's a little bit crooked. Because, yeah, there you go. All right, so the last time I aerated my wort, it had a crazy amount of krausen. This thing was super active. It was great. But it was like overflowing. So last time I did a blow off tube, and I'm glad I did because it got pretty messy. Um, so I'm gonna use my flask as the airlock. I'll put some star sand in there, and I'm gonna leave it in this bucket because the last time my airlock overflowed. Thankfully, I still put it in this bucket, so the only thing I really had to clean was the bucket. So if you're gonna aerate your wort and you have pretty active yeast, even if you don't, and this might be safe, it'll save you a lot of trouble if you put it in a bottling bucket so that when it overflows, you won't have a huge mess on your hand. Um, but the last time I aerated it, I did an IPA with some Citra hops and the East Coast Ale yeast, and that yeast was crazy. It was great. It was an excellent beer. So I'm glad that I aerated the first time or last time, and I'm hoping I get the same results with this one. All right. So one thing I've learned that you can't have too much tubing. I'm always running out of tubing. I either misplace it or I don't clean it out right, and or I use it for something else and I need more. So I got this 3/8 inch tubing off of Amazon, like 100 feet of it. Um, so it's pretty nice to have because I'm going to need some of this for my blow off tube. And I don't know how much do you think I need. Alright, so I'm going to add just a little bit of star sand to my airlock. Just want to make sure nothing grows in here. I don't exactly know how much you need, but saying that an ounce is good for 5 gallons, I'm sure just a little drop of it will be fine for uh, like 1,000 milliliters. So I'll give it a good stir. Good, make sure it's all foamy in there. All right, so we're back. I turned off my air pump, unplugged it, and I'm gonna remove this air stone, and it's like super dirty, super messy. So I have this bucket of water in here. I'll just set that in there so it doesn't get too messy. Alright, so now we're going to pitch the yeast. And this is my first time using this White Labs Pure Pitch. So, does it say to shake? I think it says to shake. What does it say? Instructions, store yeast, I did that. Yeah, I warmed it slowly. Oh, mix contents well. Okay. We're mixing. Alright, so we got a little bit of pressure in here. I cleaned my scissors. I'll just use a little bit of extra star sand just to be safe. Alright, so here we go. A little bit of pressure just came out. Okay. Ooh, it smells great. Alright, so here we go. You can, if I can get the camera. That's our yeast right in here. Just like a double baggie. Alright, so now we're turning our wort into beer. How is this? There we go. Looks like they got all of it. Oh, it smells great. I love it. Alright, I guess I'll give this a nice swirl around. Try and Get the yeast all up in there. Nicely aerated. Awesome. Alright, so let's put our airlock on here. Alright, so now it's time to put our airlock on. Let's put this in our bucket. Let me screw that back on. And give this a good spray. Let me spray the top here. Alright, so we can officially call this beer. I'd like it to be just a little bit cooler before pitching, because of course the temperature is going to rise a little bit. But I'm in my basement. It's November. At night it'll probably dip down. So we're going to wrap this one up here. And curious to know how long before we start seeing some activity in here. Okay, so it's morning. I can hear that it's bubbling, so it's fermenting. The tube's pretty clean, so it's probably not going crazy like I thought it would, but let's see what it looks like. There we go, it's fermenting, awesome. Some pretty good krausen. Temperature. Oh, it's perfect. Alright, hey, it worked. Okay, so that's how I aerate my wort. I think that really helps the yeast eat up all those sugars. Oh, hey, thanks for watching. I can't believe you watched this whole video. You must be really interested in how to do this. So feel free to ask any questions in the comments.